Hi, and welcome to season 2 of Unapologetically First Gen. We are so excited to be back. I'm Leslie, I'm the older sister.
And I'm Stacy, the younger one.
So, this is kind of a weird episode. It is July 1st when we're recording it. We wanted to do kind of like a little midsummer catch up, and we're not going to publish it until September when the season officially kicks off because we want to make sure we have a whole bunch of things in place before you guys hear about them and if we're talking about it. But before we talk about season 2, let's talk about the summer. We're halfway through. Stacy, what have you been up to this summer?
Well, I went on vacation with you
Yes,
to
we did do that.
DC, so that was a good time. But besides that, I've really just been like working and taking Fridays off and enjoying the outside. That's pretty much what I've been doing. What have you been doing all summer?
A lot of the same. I've definitely been outside more. I am spending a ton of time with the kids, and neither of them are in school or in daycare right now. So, a lot of backyard time, a lot of playground, a lot of just going on little family adventures. So, it's been really cool. And then we got to celebrate my husband's 40th birthday in DC, and that was pretty awesome.
That was a fun time. And a big reason why we decided to do this in seasons was so that we could actually like take time off and be refreshed and not feel like, ugh, there's another episode that we have to do because we want to show up and be excited to be here. And so I think it's important to like take breaks and rest and not be content creators all of the time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure to like constantly be putting things out. And I think it was really smart. And it really felt good to be like, I don't want to record consistently all summer. I don't want to keep this going. Like, we need it. I need a break because we have been really, this has been my most active summer. It's nice to not be attached to a computer all day.
Oh, I know. It's really nice to have like the flexibility to I don't know, like tomorrow I'm taking the day off. We're going to go visit our old kindergarten teacher's assistant who also worked with me. That's just like one of the really nice perks of having a flexible schedule and being able to say, "Hey, we're taking a break." But I'm super excited to see her. That's a pillar of our Portuguese community.
I know, it'll be really nice because she will be speaking Portuguese all day, and she's definitely gonna make some Portuguese food. I'm so excited about that. I if it's like previous years, her grandkids will be there, and they keep my kids entertained, so I can just, like, sit and, kind of be present with the adults, which is pretty neat to just get to hit that pause button. Mom will be there, so I guess I don't really need to parent because 'cause she'll be, spoiling them. So, why am I there? But
Um,
also another nice thing about the break is that we are talking about being first gen, which also means we're talking a lot about immigration, and we've, I think maybe even sometimes struggled to keep everything light and positive in season 1 because there's so much news out there that's bogging everyone down, but it doesn't mean that we haven't been thinking about and acting when we can around all of the issues of immigration. They're so heavy and they completely wear you down because it's like every time I get a news alert on my phone, it's like I'm tensing up. I'm like, what now? What now? And then you're hearing things like, around immigration issues, you're hearing all these things about kidnappings and people missing, or families don't know if they've been deported or if something horrible has happened to them. And it's happening extensively around our area. And it's heavy, and you need a break from the public to like just sit in your feelings sometimes and to rage. And it just it's 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 been good to be able to think about and process these things without feeling like I have to create content around it.
I agree. And even seeing the concentration camps and all of this stuff about selling the alligator Alcatraz merch and profiting off of horrible conditions that these people are living in, it is like really heavy. And It's hard because we started this podcast because we're like, "Oh, we wanna make it so fun," but little did we know this timeline was gonna timeline like this, and so we end up having these really heavy conversations, and we've already started recording some guest conversations that we think they're gonna be, like, super lighthearted, and they end up being, like, really intense, but I think it's important to have that space for people. But the other thing that I wanna mention is I just finished this book called Unlearning Shame by Devin Prince. And one of the big things that they talk about in this book is that our culture basically shames people so much that they become super individualistic and want to do things on their own. The way to create community is to unlearn shame and to be vulnerable and work together. And it's interesting because reading it, I thought a lot about my experience as a teacher and how teachers are basically shamed into solving problems on their own and not asking for help. And I think that you see that in the immigrant community too, where it's like, oh, why don't you just pick yourself up by the bootstraps without recognizing that this is a community problem?
You're right. I think that's a big piece, and I think that's what's been weighing me down the most is literally just been even if it's not it's that you get a notification and then, I think for a lot of people, you get the next thing and that's what you're thinking about. Then you get the next thing and that's what you're thinking about. And that's sort of this sort of social media culture that we have is very much like that. But when you're when you know immigrants, when you're afraid your rights are going to be taken away, it doesn't just the news alert comes in and then it goes away with the next news alert. What happens is like we end up sitting in this so heavily and I I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm the only one to feel that way, to feel like, "Oh, it's never going away," or "It's so constant," or "Every time I think it's as bad as it's gonna get, it's getting worse."
And then it leads to this feeling of like, I'm not doing enough. What else can I do? And it's like, you and I are on this podcast talking about issues, and that's like a huge thing. And it doesn't feel huge because it's like each of our individual impacts are so small. And it's only a big impact when you look at like the work that everybody is doing, and everybody has their role to play in this work. But it can definitely be really hard because as immigrants, we have such really high expectations of ourselves.
For sure. I constantly feel like, "Oh god, I should be doing more than what I'm doing." Um, but, there's only so much one individual can do, and I need to, um consider that I'm one member of a community of activists and, like you said, each of us are doing our own little pieces in order to like move the collective forward. Or at this point, it just feels like in order to keep the bar where it is and not sink it lower.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like, talking about this because when I left teaching, I felt so much guilt around this of like, man, I was in a giving profession and now I'm moving into marketing and like marketing is not a giving profession, like it's actually about making money and like there was so much guilt around it and it took me years of doing copywriting to realize like it doesn't actually matter what I'm doing. What it actually matters is how I'm approaching these things, how I'm treating people, the way that I'm building my business in a values led, ethical way. That is creating change in my circles, in my communities.
What you said just reminded me it's, all the things you said, but it's also deciding who you are willing to work with. And, one is I think there's a lot of there's a not I think, there's a lot of power when you're saying, "I'm not taking this job. I can't work with someone with your values." And I can't remember if I told this story in season 1 or not, but early on when I first started my business, excuse me, a recruiter had called me and was like, "Oh, I had a job for you, but then I saw you started your own business, so never mind." And she was like, I'm a woman, I started my own business, so I'd love to like essentially, mentor. She was basically saying, I'd love to mentor you. So she went to my back to my LinkedIn and she went into my profile and at the time my whatever the heading, the picture behind your profile picture was something that said, like, "Stand for Justice," and in my, like, bio line that you get for LinkedIn, I wrote something about diversity, equity, and inclusion. My resume shows that I have been part of multiple DEI initiatives. So she's looking at all this and she was like, "You need to get rid of all this stuff because DEI is on its way out." And so this had to be like February of this year. So it's like immediately. So I had this woman who was extremely successful. She was calling me from like her second home in Florida or whatever, which,
Gross.
whatever. But she was offering to mentor me. I wouldn't have had to pay her. She probably would have connected me to a ton of different people. She had been in the business her entire career, but I had to be like, "I can't work with you. We do not value the same things." And it's like, every once in a while, I'm like, every once in a while it comes up because I think to myself, yeah, I could have had a lot more clients, but are those the people I want to be working with?
And then, like, what are the long-term implications of this?
Right. And like I guess I'm less worried about like I'm not really thinking about like the sort of the public facing part of the business, but more like would I be comfortable saying like quieting my values so that for my checkbook basically, or for the people who are not middle-aged, for your wallet. So yeah, and all this to say, hey, this was gonna be a super lighthearted, we're having such a great summer episode, and then we ended up talking for, 10 minutes or so about how hard everything feels right now because of the, like, political climate that we're in and this anti-immigration rhetoric, and it's scary, and it's constantly in our mind, and it's been really nice to not have to talk about it in a public forum until now.
Until now, we have, like, 4 weeks of thoughts filling up inside of us.
I know, and the thing is, it's getting to in season 1, I don't think we dove into things as much as we could have. I think we were being really cautious, maybe not on purpose, but I do think on some level we were being a little bit cautious about the content that we were presenting, and we wanted it to be this really lighthearted podcast where you get to, like, hang out with 2 sisters and maybe some friends and talk about things. But I feel like it's constantly the pot is boiling over,
Yeah.
and every, every it pops into my head constantly. So you're probably gonna hear a lot more of this.
I don't know if this story is gonna make the cut, but did you hear about what happened with American Eagle this week?
Oh, I did with the celebrity that wait,
Yeah, so,
what was exactly? Tell me.
Sydney Sweeney is, like, a MAGA girl. She's very white, like, blue eyes, blonde hair. And basically American Eagle put out this ad that was like, Sydney Sweeney has good genes, and it's supposed to be like a double entendre, but people are obviously very upset about it because you put like a super white person up there being like,
And she is, like, blonde hair, blue eyes.
well, it's like it would have been one thing if you were like, "Hey, like, you have good genes," and you had, like, a bunch of diverse people. Like, that could have equally
That
been
would have
a
been a
really good
really good.
marketing campaign. Yes, they should hire me. I know. But what's crazy about this is, like, American Eagle's, like, they have corporate marketing teams. Like, they have multiple people sitting there being like, should this link be green or blue?" You know, like, they're so in it. The fact that, like, this entire marketing team, which through my Threads investigation is all white women.
You know what? The only thing that would have been less surprising if you had said all white men.
Nope, all white women. Of course, it's always
It's always white women. Why are we the problem? Let's I'm not gonna actually clap because I think that would be obnoxious. So just imagine a clap between each word. Let's get our shit together.
so,
Pick up a book, people.
that's just, like, one of those things that, like, it would have been so easy to create a campaign that was inclusive.
So I did hear a little bit about this. because there's an NPR article about it, and essentially they interviewed, like, a different marketing expert, and she was like she's saying, "I think it was intentional to get people to debate about this
Oh, I think it
online,
was.
and that's why they did it." So it's like, why are advertisements skewing to further division?
Well, it's like if you wanted to niche down to MAGA women, good job.
Yeah, yeah.
You did it.
And which, like, maybe that was the goal, because they are, like, an aspirational brand.
But they also are the brand, that, like, a few years ago did a campaign that was all about inclusivity.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to know, and I think we can refer to this as the target I need a good
I was gonna say it's giving Target.
yeah, and we need to, like, name that, like, the target trouble, the target I'll think of an alliteration, but also if you can think of any, just comment,
So
because I will be thinking about this in 4 weeks.
if people don't know, what's the problem with Target?
Yeah, so Target had been really big on diversity. They use diverse models, both in race but also size. So you might see models on Target that aren't like, your traditional sort of tall, lean model. You'll see different shapes, different races. They would highlight Black creatives for Black History Month. So you would see things like clothing. You might see, oh my gosh, I actually have a journal that I bought years ago that I bought. It was designed by a Black woman, and I bought it at Target. Like, they were doing all these things. Great. Fast forward a few years, Trump is basically like, I'm going to start fining people or businesses for keeping DEI, and Target caved before he finished the sentence. Decided, "Oh, we need to backpedal and let's get rid of all of our diversity." So not just what we as customers see, but their corporate part got rid of any diversity initiatives, just backpedal the hell out of all the DEI work that they had been doing. And you fast forward to February and they were like, "Hey, we love diversity. Here's our entire African American merchandise." And it was such a clear ploy um to like the Black History Month thing was so annoying because it was like, you don't give a shit about these people, as you have said for years you did. You're just in here for, like, the dollars and cents. So there was a massive boycott of that too, and this whole DEI thing is why tons of people are still boycotting Target. So I don't even know what I was talking about before I raged about Target. I was We were talking about
Well, I was bringing up American Eagle, and then
and then I was like, yeah, then I so yeah, so American Eagle's very much doing the Target other T words, so there's a fun alliteration for us to remember when we're gonna dog Target.
yeah, so if you're wondering why nobody's in Target the past 6 months, that's
So let's talk about something. Let's talk more positively.
well, let's talk about season 2 because, yes, while we will have moments of talking about how much this timeline sucks, we have some exciting things also coming up.
We do, and we've already started recording some of them, so it'll be really fun. But yeah, Stacy, give us a little rundown. What are we doing for fun stuff?
So, fun stuff. We recorded with somebody that was so nice and just like so great and vibed with us so well. And I can't wait for that episode to come out. Her name is Maria Timonina, and she's an actress that actually just released her show on Netflix. And so we got to celebrate her with an episode. So that was super exciting. I'm looking forward to that one coming out.
I am too.
I think season 2, given not to I know we said we're gonna talk about lighthearted things, but I do think
We
that,
didn't
like
say that. We said we talked about lighthearted things last season.
that's true. Um, we'll definitely be talking about what is going on in the world, especially in relation to immigration in the United States, what's going on, how you can support your communities, what you can do, and we're gonna be also diving into, like, our life as first geners, things, family things. There's always family things with 100 plus cousins.
Yeah, and like 2 dozen aunts and uncles, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about doing the deep dive about our family things.
And most excitingly, we got mugs.
We did.
You want to tell us about the mugs?
Yes, yes. So we got some mugs. We were like, wouldn't it be cool if we had merch? And because we both like to be cozy with coffee, we decided on these really cool, like camping style mugs. They have our logo on them. And if you happen to be a guest on our podcast, you get a mug as a thank you gift. And we're also going to be selling them. So
Yes.
you can own your own little unapologetically first gen mug. I highly recommend if you work in a certain type of office to bring your mug, or I should say, in a certain type of office with certain type of people, you should bring your mug to work. Just make it your desk mug.
It's
I like
also a great gift. Who
it.
doesn't want to be unapologetically first gen?
It is a great gift, and my gosh, gonna make that a Christmas present for people.
So if you are a first gen and you want to support our show, the link to buy your own mug is in the show notes.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Oh, you know what? You were talking about celebrities. You talked about Maria as our we have another Maria celebrity that's coming. That's really exciting. I'll refrain from saying who since we haven't recorded that episode yet, just in case it gets pushed to season 3. And then we have just other guests that are coming on, and some of them are our friends, and some of them are people that have really interesting stories and things to say, and that we're so excited to be talking to them about themselves or their areas of expertise. So I'm like super psyched about getting this going and to getting feedback from folks.
I know. I love hearing other people's stories and comparing experiences. And I was saying to somebody this week that even though this sounds backwards, but even though people's cultures are so different, that difference is almost like what holds us together because it's like there's so much more that's the same about people across different cultures than there is about what's different. And that difference is what makes people interesting because you're learning about other people and learning about the way that they do things and how they celebrate things and what are their values and how do they line up with our values. And I don't know, it's just a nice way to get to know the world.
Yeah, it is. And it's been really cool getting to know people and getting to hear these stories. And I think one of the things that I really like about the guest episode is it feels very much like, hey, we're not alone in the negativity of the situation that this country's in, but also the other side of it. We're not alone in this celebration of being unapologetically who we are.
I know, and I think that this podcast too is the work of us unlearning our shame too. And
Yeah,
it's such a nice way to hold on to our culture and what's important to us.
I thought of it. I thought of it.
Thought of what?
The Target Take Back.
Ooh, that's good.
That's what we're calling it. In the show notes, we need to define the Target Take Back just so people can put it in their heads. And whenever they think about this situation, they'll be like, "Oh, it's the old Target Take Back."
That one. Ah, yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna coin that. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it on our new social media pages.
Ooh.
So you'll find us on social media as the podcast. That will be one of the easiest ways for you to get information about our podcast and you get to know us a little bit better. I'll definitely be posting not just about the podcast, but I think it would be really cool to post about sisterly moments. I think next time we get all the cousins together, maybe we can get a big group shot and post that. It'll just be fun things. And, it'll be a great way to connect with people who might want to be a guest on our show.
Yes.
great way to get a mug.
Great way to get a mug. I would
And then
say
okay,
second best way to get a
yes.
mug besides just buying one directly from us and supporting the show.
Yeah, and then there's another great way to get in touch with us and to learn more about the show and about us. And Stacey, you wanna tell them?
Yes, so join the email list. The link is in the show notes, and you will get emails when there are new episodes dropping so you don't miss one. And with that, we are super excited for season 2. There's going to be a lot of great episodes coming your way. If there's anything that you want to hear, feel free to reach out and let us know. And you can join the email list, get new episodes in your inbox, follow us on social media, and don't forget to get your Unapologetically First Gen mug so you can drink coffee while you listen. Thanks again. Until next time.